Okay, so we are in the second quarter of the moon for this month, and I want to do a check in on the Ukraine and Russia situation. I've been thinking about this, and um, what I want to do is try to pull back as many layers just to see the primary motivations here. Random number Peachtree, random word, and random number 22. Um, I just want to pull back as many layers to see sort of what is really going on, what the motivations are, and all that stuff. So let's just take a peek. All right, the root card is the reversed High Priestess, and the main card is the Nine of Pentacles. Now, well, we'll get into this. So, the reversed High Priestess. The High Priestess keeps herself very guarded, right? Um, I'm reminded of the story of how the Gorgons and like Medusa came to be because there were some priestesses who were in a temple, and Poseidon decided to bust into the temple and rape them. And basically, as a punishment, I guess, for being raped, he turned them into the Gorgons. But the high priestess is the priestess. The high priestess reversed is when all of that guarded energy essentially gets raped, right? Now, this could be freely sharing something that is sacred in a way that sucks, but the way that I've been thinking about what is happening over there, it is more like probably taking something sacred and raping it. Now, the Nine of Pentacles is about financial gain, financial reward. It's like having the money to do the things that you want to do. Now, I've been thinking about this a lot, and the only people that win in this war are the weapons manufacturers, and how the whole thing is basically like a great big expo show for them, and they don't give a fuck who they sell that shit to. So there's a bunch of money being made, right? And something sacred and treasured that's essentially being violated. Now, first we'll see what leads up to the 9 and where it goes. So we get the 7 of Pentacles leading up to it, and it going to the moon. Now, there's a few ways I could read this. But the 7 of Pentacles leading up to it, so here once again we have the witch practicing witchcraft. Now, this comes up, I think, in every reading about this situation. But what the 7 really shows is learning by doing, right? And I mean, especially if we're looking at a weapons manufacturer, like this is how they field test. I mean, this is like that shit in action, but they've also been doing it a long time. So they have lots of practice. They've been doing it for a while. Now, that leads to the 9 of Pentacles, which is the financial gain, and eventually it leads to the moon, which is manipulation. Now, this could also be the stocks, right? The stocks going to the moon because they're making so much money. But, I mean, probably both are true, but it really shows a bunch of manipulation and people basically being controlled by this other thing. Okay, so let's see if this machine, this war machine, let's see if there's any hope that this thing can be stopped. And what we have is the Ten of Cups, and that is the happy reunited family, right? So, I mean, I suppose you could look at that as Soviet Union. I mean, ultimately, it wouldn't fucking matter what it was called, you know, if the people were just united, or reunited. This is probably true of every single war in the world. If the people were just reunited, then, and in the case of reunion, they're so goddamn happy to be together. This is emotional support, having actual support from your neighbors instead of like being afraid that they're going to kill you. So, the reunion, the emotional reunion, the family coming back together is the way to stop the war machine. Now, I'm just going to pull one more card to see if there's any fucking way in hell that that'll actually happen. Because if you look at it now, you would say probably not. And what we get is the Page of Wands. So, I mean, it looks like it's possible, but this is the slippery slope, right? The page, this is the creative little kid, and he has to cross this icy pond. He uses stilts, so it would be an unorthodox method. It would also take like this hopeful spirit, creative, unorthodox spirit in order to make it work. And the people would have to believe in themselves, right? I would still say that overall that's a long shot. Now, I'm just going to pull a card, maybe a couple, as we look at sort of what is coming up um, for the next like week, right? Up in the days until the full moon. So, what is coming up there? And so we get a Three of Pentacles, and this is some teamwork. Now, I've learned through the readings on this situation that this might not be a hopeful thing, right? Um, now, we'll pull one more card, and we get the Knight of Swords, and that is the Soldier. So, I would guess that this means NATO, actually, a whole bunch of different forces sort of working together. And maybe even sending soldiers there, which would be, I mean, from what I understand, that would be the start of World War III. So I'm going to pull one more card to just see if this is like NATO sending soldiers there. The Lover shows a big decision being made. So it is possible, and I've learned through these readings, right? So sometimes I misinterpret the things, but we have these three working together. It is tied directly to soldier energy, and the Lovers is a big decision being made and commitment to action. So that definitely could show up as NATO troops. It could show up as, I mean, there's a lot of different factions that are over there, right? There's a shitload of different factions and militias and like all kinds of shit. There are many, many groups of armed people. So here, there's some of them that are working together. Of course, they're soldiers. Um, this also actually could be the soldier attacking the three that are trying to work together. Like, you guys knock it off. Like, I'm going to go over there and bite you. But it looks like a fairly big commitment to action as far as that goes. So that's what we get here. I would love to hear any comments or any other ideas about what we have in the cards here. And peace.